everyone. This is Mobility Ministries that we are at, and it is located right by the intermediate school, which is across the road. And we will be going in to talk to Bob and Arla and ask them tons of questions. We're now in the entryway of Mobility Ministries, and I would like to introduce to you Bob and Arla Gabriels. And would you tell us how long you've been doing this?
We've been doing this since 2011, and we have about 50 volunteers, retirees who work here, who are using their skills to help us in the shop.
Great. So now we're in the wood shop, and there's lots of wood. So tell us what you do here in this area.
Okay. Yes, you see, we start here. We take the boards that come from the local lumber yard. Capers Lumber Yard has been very good with us and working with us, and we get all the wood from them. It's cut on this particular saw right here into different lengths, and then it's put into the bin right here so that the pieces are waiting to be processed, and after that, then they're processed over in another part of the shop.
So what do all the letters mean?
Okay, if we want to get a piece of wood this size, all we have to do is put this piece down here, put the board against it, and we cut it. And it's exactly the right length. So the letters designate the different parts that go into the carts.
And how many volunteers work in this area?
There are 5 or 6 volunteers that work in this area.
Bob, I noticed there's other letters over here on this side. What do these letters mean?
These are the different parts of the wood that go into the cart, okay? So for instance, when we cut these 2 parts on the big saw, then they come here and they're processed. You see that fits together for the side of the box. And we process these according to what the markings are on here. So each piece has markings as to what part of the cart it fits for. Okay, we take the wooden parts and we make the seat that people sit on in the cart. To make that,
yes, and those carts,
we take our wood parts, we put them in here, we put this on top. Now that's our seat. Then we lower this in and we use a drill. And we drill the various holes inside of all of these bushings. When we're done with that, we fasten screws into it, and the seat is all put together.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're now in the painting station. So, Bob, tell us about what happens here and why such bright colors. Why the colors?
Sure. Yeah, the wood gets painted with a couple of coats of paint in order to protect it, because many times the recipient in other countries has it outside all the time. They don't have garages to put things in. They stand outside their hut, okay? So we use bright colors for a reason, because many of these people are the poorest people in the world, and they're used to having almost nothing that they own. They live on the ground, so they live in a gray and a brown world. They live in the dirt on the ground, and this is the first thing that they will own of their own, and it's a nice bright colored thing, and they can be very, very proud of it.
Okay, we're now in the steel part area, and Bob, tell us where the steel comes from.
Okay, the steel is shipped to us on semi-trucks, big trucks, from Michigan, and it's from Niles, Michigan.
And so what do you use this steel for?
Okay, this is the frame that goes underneath the cart, and this is the whole crank assembly on the front. That's all steel, and that's all made here. Everything is made here from scratch. These are the pieces of steel, the long pieces of steel that come in from the steel manufacturer. Then they're cut here on this saw. This is our band saw, and we cut things right here. And then we pile the parts on this big shelf behind us, waiting for them to be welded. This is the area where we process the steel parts. So we take a part that we need, and this is a pattern for it. We follow that pattern, and we drill out the holes, and we do all the processing on these drill presses, and down on the end, there's sanders down on the end where we use that to process the steel.
Okay, we're now in the welding area. This is the area, Bob, that they take the steel and put it together to make something on the cart, right?
Yes, what they make on the cart is the frame underneath
Okay.
to support the wooden box and everything, and the whole front end where the cranks are, okay, with the wheel in the front and the whole assembly there. It's all made here.
Okay, and then what's back there in that area?
And that area back here is where the welding is done inside that room, because that has different gases that need to be exhausted and stuff, so it's a separate room.
And then can you show us a piece that they have welded and are working on or putting
Sure.
together?
Sure. What happens here is they would take pieces of this, and they would take these pieces and this, and they take these, and you can see all of these pieces come together, and then they're made into a crank. So this is the finished crank that's made. It's made in two pieces. It has all of these parts in it. It's made here, and then it's ready for painting after it leaves this room.
Okay, we're now in the paint spray booth area that will spray the steel, and Bob is going to show us the hand cranks that are already painted.
Yes, these are up here. These have been painted yesterday, and those are the ones I showed you in the welding area. This is still has to be put together, but it's now all nicely painted. We paint them in this area here. So this exhaust fan takes the spray out of here. And if I'll just repaint this one like this. In this area, we take the wooden boxes that are done, and we take the frames that have been welded and painted, and they're being put together here by John. Okay, in this area, we assemble all the parts together for this crank. This is the crank you saw being welded and painted, and now it's put on the front end of the cart. Now we're going to go to this side here. On this side, we take the forks, which have been painted in the paint room, and Al is putting together all of the stuff that goes on there, the brake, the spring, the axles, everything is put together on here, and when he's done, it's a finished part ready for assembly. When we come here, then Al is putting this front end on, which has the top portion and the fork portion, and once again, these are the cranks that make it go. And he's putting this all together here. He's putting his strips on here. He's putting the back wheels on. And when it's done here, it gets ready. It's ready for packing. Okay, once they're assembled by Al over there, then they come here and they wait to be packed. So this one has the seat system in it, the seat back. It's all put together. It's waiting to be taken apart and put into a box for shipping. Okay, then the boxes come over here, the carts come over here, and they're put into these boxes. They all fit inside of a box here, and then they're strapped. These guys are packing, these guys and gals are packing these, and they're ready to go onto pallets. Okay, once the carts are packed into the boxes, they're put on pallets, and the pallets are stacked in here and up there and outside in 2 shipping containers. They're waiting for the big shipping container to come to be shipped overseas. When they're packing, they're putting burlap sacks in as packing material, but it's much more important than packing material. This is used in Malawi to handle corn, okay? So these sacks come from a coffee company, and they can store their corn in here for between their harvest season and when they need it. Okay, these are crutches and walkers that we collect. They have to be in pretty good shape. And they're sent along in our container because we have just enough room at the top of the container to put small things in. So we fill it with crutches and walkers and canes. We're always looking to improve the cart. And here's some ideas of a new cart that we're making. It's a prototype cart. It's going to be lighter weight, it's going to be faster, it's going to be easier to get on, it's going to be made with plastics instead of wood. And so we're in the development stage right now, and it doesn't have the floorboards in, but it actually is a very, very easy cart to ride. This is what a shipping container looks like when it goes into a boat and goes across the ocean to Africa. We load it all the way to the top with boxes, and then we also are able to put walkers in here because we've got a little bit of extra room at the top. So we have many, many walkers in here. We have nearly 100 walkers inside of here. We use the gunny sacks, the burlap sacks, for packing right now, but when we don't have those available, then we put clothes inside the boxes too. And that's free shipping of good quality clothes that we get from a place that pre-sorts them for us, so we're not looking for donations for clothes. But we fill the boxes with about 50 pounds of clothes beside the carts.
Okay, thank you, Bob and Arliss. This has been an awesome experience. We've learned so much, and hopefully our students and teachers and staff will all enjoy this also. But I have a couple questions. How many of these carts can you make in, say, a week?
We make 7 each week right now. We're looking to up our production, but that means 7 people each week can get off the ground and now ride instead of crawl.
And so how many do you ship? Or how many do you have to wait to get so many before you can ship?
Yes, we can put 231 carts into a shipping container. So as soon as we get 231, we call the trucking company and the trains and the boats, and they put together a package and we ship the container to Africa.
So what impact do these carts actually do? Once you ship them, what is the whole point of the carts?
Sure, that's a very good question because that's the whole purpose of it.
Okay.
What we do is there's people that crawl on the ground. There's some people that receive it that have never walked in their life. They're born with polio, they're born with a leg deformity, and they don't get the medical care that we get here. So they end up crawling all on the ground. We have ladies who've received these that are in their 40s. They have never left their little village. They've never gone 2 blocks down the road to the market because they can't get there. So they've lived in that small little village their entire life. They get on a cart, and that very day they can go, and they go to the village market. The other reason that we make these is because we not only give them that mobility, which makes them important and makes them able to provide for themselves, but also it gives them dignity. And the best way I can illustrate that is this way. If I was down on the ground and I lived down here, and you came up to me and talked to me, let's have a conversation.
I would always be looking down.
Yes, and I'm always like this, looking up and talking to you and gesturing.
Right.
So the dignity is not very great down here. But when I get on a cart, look what happens. Once I make it on the cart, we can have a much better conversation, can't we?
Right.
Because we're looking across at each other. We're both important, not you important up here and me down there. It just makes a huge difference in people's life.
That's a great impact. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you both so much. This has been an awesome experience for us.
Well, you're very welcome, and we love to have the encouragement from schools.